It's a marriage check.
402799. Maybe just enough to
40 what?
2799. Okay.
Dale,
Yes, sir.
tell him Oliver is acting as mayor pro tem, so you know.
We're in good hands.
Joyce, you know what Joyce did, huh?
Everybody's job is safe.
Sorry, wrong number.
Looks to me like he's unavailable.
They say Oliver, everybody's job is safe.
I didn't say that out loud.
780-2977.
This number is not active.
Cut off that.
Okay, I'm
The
here.
White House, man. That's supposed to be working.
Yeah. Yeah, you,
I'll just cut out
okay, what number, you
1/52
may
of
just
the
dial you, what
salaries
number you
line.
want to call you back at?
But it's the one that we use.
What number are you at when you call? Let me just call you.
Got it.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate it. This is for tomorrow.
Okay.
We're on the clock.
I think we almost got him, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
That's helpful.
Hey, we got you.
All right,
You can hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Mr. Chairman, we have,
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we have the mayor dialed in if you want to.
All right, Mr. Mayor.
Hello, Mr. Chairman.
All right. I hope the weather's not too bad up there for you.
It is a wonderful day in Washington, D.C.
It was the same thing back in Shreveport. It was a little cloudy this morning, but I think Jeff went to mask and said a prayer to it, and we got sunshine.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, looks like I left wonderful weather behind and brought great weather with me.
All right. We ready for you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. As you're probably aware, I am away from the city in Washington, D.C. today, and but wanted to take an opportunity to have a chance to be a part of at least a portion of today's proceedings, may get a chance to call back in and participate and engage additionally. Have to be on the way to Capitol Hill at the moment, but had a wonderful earlier to the meeting. But before I get to that, want to take the opportunity before I go any further to express my thanks and appreciation to Brandon Oldenburg and Pam Atchison and all of the team of professionals and volunteers who helped put on this past Saturday's unseen Shreveport closure in downtown Shreveport. It was absolutely an unreal, unbelievable experience. For those of you who have been around Shreveport for a while and are familiar with Stan Lewis and know his history and his legacy, you were excited to have a chance to see him again. For those who are unfamiliar, you had a chance to learn a great deal about the history and legacy of Shreveport from a musical standpoint. And for those who are devotees of downtown, you had a chance to be able to hear an aspect of our history that most folks have not had a chance to know and experience in the last 15 to 20 years or so. So again, thanks and kudos to Brenda as the person professionally coordinating that effort, and Pam and her team for helping to put it on, and for all of the folks who came out to enjoy it, and especially to Stan Lewis himself, who came out and gave us the gift of his time, his memorabilia, and shared with us so many of the lessons that he learned along the way. Secondly, I want to say thanks to all the folks who were part of our efforts to spread the word about the Affordable Care Act this past weekend. We had a great team of volunteers who joined us out of South Park Mall. I'm sorry, show how old I am. Mall St. Vincent to share information, to actually sign people up We went from there to barbershops and beauty shops across the city, and from there we went out to the various nightclubs and other establishments around town, and then capped it all off with attending church service and having various ministers and faith leaders across the city and across Central Bossier and throughout the area who shared information with folks about the Affordable Care Act, how it can impact and affect them and their families, and in fact had more folks to sign up as well. So my thanks to the entire team of folks who came together to help make that happen, and want to make sure that folks know that they still have up until the end of this month to get enrolled in this initial cycle for the Affordable Care Act. And then I want to also say thanks to Ann Morello and all of her folks at Shreveport. They had the chance this past weekend to welcome their 3 millionth visitor. And Mr. Chairman, council members, I would not have ever expected that since 1998 that there's been 3 million people who had the chance to visit, explore, and get a chance to be educated and empowered by Shreveport. But that is a great testament to the history of the people who helped to put that effort forward, to help stand it up, bring it to fruition, grow it over the years, and help to provide a high-quality place for folks who live in Shreveport to be able to come and enjoy, but to also make it a wonderful attraction to draw people to our city. So thanks for the 3 million who have come, and we look forward to having 3 million more. In particular, the young lady who was the 3 millionth visitor is a young student at Riverside Elementary School by the name of Evelyn Watts. Her parents happen to be in the Air Force, and they had a great time. That 3 millionth visitor will have a lifetime pass to Shreveport, along with a great package of other prizes, and we hope it will spur others to come out to get a chance to learn, and for many in the business and the philanthropic community to step up, and ordinary individuals as well, to help step up, support Shreveport, and be a part of their efforts to go on their next capital campaign, so we can see what ends up being the next phase for that wonderful institution. As I mentioned, Mr. Chairman and members, I'm here in Washington, D.C. I'm with Helen Godfrey and members of the Shreveport Chamber of Commerce for their annual CC to D.C. trip. Myself and Mrs. Godfrey Smith had the privilege of spending several hours at the White House this morning and afternoon. We had a chance, Mr. Chairman, to visit with members of the President's staff to talk specifically about increasing opportunities for manufacturing in Shreveport and Northwest Louisiana in particular. Had some exciting things that came out of some of the initiatives that are being done out of the White House in conjunction with the Commerce Department and several others. There's some things that we're going to be looking to take advantage of in particular that will entail bringing together a partnership of cities, institutions of higher education, as well as our manufacturing community to pursue additional opportunity, and we look forward to some positive outcomes from that. We also had a chance to be able to engage specifically around an area where the Vice President has engaged myself and other mayors during the last Mayor's Conference in D.C. about workforce development, and there's some very exciting things that are coming forward that will allow us to be able to tap into and expand and grow some of the things that we're already doing from a workforce standpoint, especially when it comes to manufacturing. And then we also had a chance to specifically discuss some issues involving our energy sector there in Shreveport, the Haynesville Shale in particular, as well as the ongoing effort to try and continue to expand and grow opportunity to market and expand the use of natural gas. And in particular, we spent a considerable amount of time discussing the possibilities of natural gas exports. For those of you who are familiar with what's happening now in the Lake Charles area, where you have one of the very first LNG, not importation as was originally envisioned, but exportation efforts that's about to be stood up, represents the largest capital investment ever made in a business operation in the history of the state of Louisiana, some $3+ billion as I recollect, and it has potential to be transformative, not just for the Lake Charles area, but for the entirety of Louisiana and the country as well. We talked about the need to be able to adjust some of the policies and the pace of some of the policies affecting that aspect, not just the natural gas industry itself, but the rules and regulations when it comes to the exploitation thereof. And we're looking forward to being able to continue that dialogue. And also, we're especially excited to talk about the My Brother's Keeper effort that the president kicked off just a couple of weeks ago. They'd already heard about some of the exciting things that the city of Shreveport has been doing. In fact, want to pass along a commendation on behalf of the White House on the fact that Shreveport is one of the few municipalities across this country that still funds a city-funded summer youth employment program, and that is one of the key elements in terms of how we give young people of all stripes, but young men in particular, something positive and constructive to do throughout the summer months. And so we look forward to being able to carry on that dialogue and hopefully bring back some additional resources as well as ideas to the city of Shreveport. Council members, thank you all for your continued time and service. We look forward to being able to monitor today's proceedings, and I'll be back there with you all on tomorrow for the regular meeting of the Shreveport City Council.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
I'm gonna see if I can't catch up with my sister and brother-in-law and let them fix you some southern fried chicken while you're up there here.
Well, now, you know that those are some of my favorite folks, Mr. Chairman. In fact, you may remember they hosted my dear mother here just a couple of years ago.
That's exactly right.
He had a chance to visit the nation's capital. So Reverend Brown is a good man. I always look forward to having a chance to visit with him.
And they fixed some good southern fried chicken.
Well, now you know I know a little bit about that.
There you go. All right. I wish you could see Dale over here. Tell me he wants some. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, council members. As I said, I'll be listening in, and we'll be there with you all on tomorrow.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Oliver. I'm getting on this good side.
if we're still in communications, I do have one other item. The mayor last week, spoke on Ordinance 15, which is the infrastructure improvements around the LSU Hospital Kings Highway area. We do have representatives from University Health and the school here today, and I don't know if the council has any particular questions, but they would like to present information on that proposal. So, Ms. Hedgecock, if you and Mr. Daly and Mr. Jocelyn would come forward.
Jill, they're going to tell us while they're over budget? Is that what they're going to do?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think they're going to talk about
infrastructure. Is that what John's going to explain,
today.
why they're over budget? Is that it?
I'll let him handle that one, Mr. Jenkins.
Good afternoon. I'm John Daly, one of the vice chancellors at the LSU Health Science Center, and I'm joined here by Mark Jocelyn, who's the head of physical planning and facilities for University Health. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or we can give you an overview if you'd like.
Sure, I think, well, certainly some that's interesting me is, I don't want to, I was joking a little bit about the over budget part, but just kind of tell us where we are and what the additional funds that we're voting on tomorrow, I believe, are going to be used for relative to where we are today.
Sure.
Do y'all want to use your boards? Do you need your boards?
Maybe the timeline? If you recall, a few years ago, the city council and the mayor had come together and supported unanimously the investment in engineering work for Kings Highway. The Kings Highway initiative was actually called for in the Great Expectations master planning effort that was led by the staff from Goody Clancy. At the time that effort went before you, it wasn't clear that there was going to be a state crime lab investment in Shreveport. If you look at the timeline, I think it was probably about 9 months ago that it was clear that funding was going to be shored up by participation of area sheriffs and other funding sources. So I think the amendment or the resolution before you is really intended to extend the Linwood aspect of the project south so that it would actually touch the area that would be occupied by the state crime lab. The state crime lab construction actually got underway back in October. It actually occupies one of the large parking or surface parking lots for the Health Science Center, and it's intended to be integrated programmatically with our departments of pathology and a number of the other sciences so that we would actually have a Shreveport CSI type facility. So in our conversations with members of the administration, we just thought it might be opportune, since the engineering work was almost done for the Linwood Kings Samford kind of crescent, that we actually ask if we could be possibly extended to 2 Lane Avenue, which is the intersection with Linwood, where the crime lab is going to be sited. So that was really the gist of the request before you.
The engineers are currently designing. They're about 75% complete with their plans, and that is for the original scope. This new work is proposed to be added to their contract, which is about 1,000 to 1,300 linear feet further south from the original termination of the Linwood improvements. And that would extend the same Linwood streetscape improvements down to just past the crime lab to connect those facilities to the street improvements up to the Health Science Center and University Health.
Do we know an estimate of how much time this will add to the, to the completion of this addition of scope? How much time is that going to add?
It's about 1,300 linear feet, so it will add some time to the contract. I haven't seen the negotiations, but it's a relatively short amount of time. There'd be some additional survey work required, some real basic additional geotechnical, but it wouldn't add significantly to the timeline for the plan preparation.
It just seems like, I guess it's slowed down a couple times, and I know y'all have experienced the same frustration with the project that we have, where we sort of think we're going to be expecting some more results, and then we don't, and then it takes a little longer to get those. And I'm not sure what the, reasoning behind all of it is, but just
we're real glad it's moving.
Curious if you're worried that this would add a significant amount, but your answer seems to indicate that you don't.
No, we're real glad it's moving at this pace, because at least it's moving forward.
Yeah. The reason Oliver was asking about the budget, we decided to, if it was in the overruns, just take the money out of his city council district.
Yeah, it's only fair. It seems only fair. And let me ask, just on another thing, and I don't know how to say this delicately, so we have obviously the engineering, it's in some stage of completeness, and kind of, I will say the way I remember it, though I'm sure not everybody remembers it exactly the way I do, there was, we would pay for the engineering, and then there were going to be capital dollars envisioned coming from elsewhere. Any source of capital dollars for implementing part of the engineering?
Well, my recollection is that the funding sources for the actual construction hadn't been, determined at that point in time. I think Dr. Barish, the Chancellor of the Health Science Center, made a commitment that within the health sciences' very limited financial resources, that we would actually make investments to some of the interior roadways that actually link up to Sanford. So actually, we just completed the Jennings Street improvement, which actually would help divert traffic off of Kings Highway to the campus core. That was actually completed, I think, back in October.
Right.
So that was about a $600,000 project. So that was committed to that in the spirit of trying to work together. But moving forward, the Health Science Center and its partner University Health don't have the financial resources to make investments in municipal streets. So I think, in terms of, looking at municipal and potentially state, resources would really be the, I guess the first, entities that, would be normally approached.
Okay.
I'm just trying to be clear. This is an additional appropriation just for the design. These are not construction dollars at all.
This is additional design. This is to move the project. You remember it was Sanford Avenue, Kings Highway, and Linwood. This would take it 1,300 feet further south on Linwood.
I'm not trying to detract from this. I'm just trying to be clear. We are furnishing funds for the design. Am I hearing there's no source of money for construction?
Yeah, it's not been identified. Yeah, it's never been identified in the script.
The roadway work that I was just mentioning, interior to the campus, that's actually a university-controlled roadway. So we were able to make investments in that, but in terms of being able to invest in any municipally controlled or state-controlled roads, we don't have the resources to do that.
Yeah, it's, I think this is one of those discussions. It does go way back, so it bears maybe looking back and seeing what the discussion was, because the design has been going on a long time. But it is the primary project that's listed in the master plan because of its ability to illustrate a lot of the tenets of the master plan. This would create a much more walkable, bikeable, work-friendly, safer, healthier kind of environment. So that's the reason it's mentioned in there. I think we had also discussed in the early on, in the initial discussion about how having this design ready could act as a means to entice development. To say, upon commitment of developing some particular structure or some goal, that we could implement these things, or that we would seek funds to implement this designed aspect of the improvements. And I think that part of the argument can be made. Well, the state is doing the crime lab, which is a substantial investment in the area. The university has done improvements into their facility, and so there are some of those things happening certainly along and then around the Sanford area as well.
Sure.
And a lot of improvements and investment that has been made in that area. So even the design process without a product and without a dedicated source of funding for construction, it has still spurred development, just to know that it's being designed right now. So it is hopeful that we could move this forward in some way to see the vision come to fruition in the area.
Did you know, Jen, off the top of your head, what's the rough estimate in capital funds for the actual construction now? Roughly, I know that the engineering's not complete. You must have some kind of ROM on.
The original city estimates that go back several years put Sanford, Kings, Linwood at about $8.5 million, excluding additional right-of-way. The latest estimate from the engineers for that portion, not counting this extension, is about $6.5 million, not counting additional right-of-way needed along Kings for the bike lane. So total $9 million.
In that total $9 million, would you include? Does that include an estimate for this additional part down to 2-lane?
Yes, but excluding additional right-of-way needed for the bike path.
Okay, but now we're just talking the Linwood portion now, right? Because you said Kings.
No, the $9 million would be the Sanford, Kings, Linwood down to the original termination point at Claiborne.
Okay.
It's just not including the cost of, there's some additional right-of-way that is necessary to be required to make the road as wide as necessary on East Kings Highway. There's no additional, right-of-way required on the other streets.
Understood. Okay. But so my question is, how much additional capital are you projecting? And I know it's rough because you haven't done the engineering, but to go from Claiborne to the 2-lane avenue, whatever.
Based on the Linwood from Kings to Claiborne, probably about $1.5 million. Additional construction money for the extension that's being considered right now.
Okay, that's what my other question. Okay, thank you.
All right, gentlemen, we appreciate you all coming down, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, I'd like to make a couple of comments before we leave this portion of the agenda.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Mimi and John and my good friend.
Mark.
God bless the engineer.
Mark?
Art. No, with LSU.
Right, Mark.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you all for coming out and sharing this information with you. But I also want to make clear, obviously, as administration, we can't speak for Councilman Oliver Jenkins or any other member of the council. But we can state the administration's position with regard to this situation. And that is, there was never a point in time where we understood that this was an arrangement that would be assuming that investment in the public infrastructure would be done by the LSU Health Science System itself. That these are investments in the Shreveport Caddo Parish public infrastructure that are the responsibilities those particular public bodies. And that I believe, as I heard Councilman Everson reference, this is a project that is specifically identified within the Shreveport Caddo 2030 Master Plan. I think it may be one of the only projects that was specifically identified as opportunities that we should be pursuing because of the significance of what the LSU Health Science Center complex represents. This isn't just a desire on the city's part to build nice and fancy streets around this hospital. It is intended to be a partnership that we believe this public investment will help to leverage additional public and private investment that allows us to be able to stabilize and hold on to this significant economic presence and also grow it in a significant and substantial way. And so I just want that to be clear. Respect the perspective that's offered that may come from some members of the council, but we see this as a part of an overall larger vision that entails investment and improvement of the public infrastructure on the part of those of us here within local government, followed by what we hope will be some significant investment within the infrastructure of the Health Science Center itself, and that also will come in conjunction with the potential for significant private investment in areas surrounding the hospital that could result in additional opportunities for business, commerce, residential activity, and what have you. So just want to make sure that that's clear and in the record. Respect the other perspective that was offered, but wanted to make sure that it was understood that as we started this effort off, we knew that not only were we looking to take on the burden of the engineering and the design, but it would also be a part of our challenge to go out and pull together the resources through what hopefully will be more than a single source that may be a Shreveport, but to be responsible for pulling forward the resources necessary to make an investment in what is already our public infrastructure and our public responsibility.
All right, gentlemen, again,
Thank you, Mr.
thank you
Chairman.
all.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
Mr. Mayor. All right, let's move on to recognition of distinguished guests by city council members. Mr. Jenkins, Mr. Sam Jenkins, let's start with you. Do you have any?
Well, we just certainly would like to recognize several attorneys that are in the audience today. Alex Washington, and I see Bobby Sutton Jr. Happy to see them down. I don't know if they have business before the council today or not, but it's always good to see some of my distinguished colleagues in the chamber. Welcome down, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jenkins, I had planned to kind of shorten this meeting, but if you got some of your friends here, we might kind of length it out a little bit, because I know you want them to make a few little extra dollars.
I think the clock started when they left their office, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we'll see if we can add a couple of hours on to it then. Okay, Oliver?
I don't have anything today.
Oh.
Councilman Shine.
Okay, is that because the mayor's in here, or you just don't have anything today?
Just don't have anything.
Okay, Mike?
I'm good today, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Jeff?
Just want to thank everybody for coming out.
Okay.
Good crowd. Let's move on.
I see, is that Mr. Harris back there?
Stan? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Stan, before you leave, I don't guess I'm overstepping myself a little bit, but Councilman Jenkins has some information for you before you leave. I think it's kind of a request too.
Which one?
Oh,
me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't looked what I had to request, but I was about to check to see what I was requesting.
I see Sam is thinking about how he can lengthen this meeting so he can make his friends some extra money. But we'll do that for you, Sam. We'll help you out. Okay, Mr. Sibley, I'm gonna take for granted that that's all the communication we got from the administration.
Yes, sir, this time.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Sibley, are we going to be able to talk about illegal signage today, or did you want to do that tomorrow?
Yes, sir, we can. Mr. Harris is here, and he's prepared to outline our program in that vein.
Why don't you ask him to come up now?
Mr. Harris, come forward and I think also, Mr. Corbin, he can report on those two specific situations that were raised. Stan, if I didn't hang you out there, too bad.
Because I do see Ms. Donna Curtis is in the audience with us today, and I think that's a concern of hers as well. And what I'd ask Mr. Sibley to do is kind of put together a brief report for us of reminding us where the ordinance, what the ordinance includes for illegal signage and what our options are, and if we need to make any ordinance changes. Because I think all of us are getting complaints from people about these temporary signs being in right-of-ways and up and down the streets and all that. So,
Okay.
Mr. Harris, it's all yours.
Right. Okay, our basic approach is that Public Works is the primary contact for any illegal signs in the public right-of-way itself. If it's on private property, then it would be a different entity than Public Works. But what we're asking folks to do, if you have a situation, please report it to us at 673-6300. Our basic approach to it is that we have crews that are dedicated to basically pulling these signs. If the signs are just the ones that just stick in the ground, we just basically go ahead and just pull those out immediately. The larger signs, we will make a contact with the property owner.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
If they're larger signs, we'll make a contact with the property owner and basically explain to them the fact that they not authorized to place that in the public right-of-way. Give them 24 hours to remove it. If they don't, then we'll go ahead and remove that sign as well. If there's something that persists, we have the ability to document those cases, whether they're the small signs or the larger signs. In those cases, then we will document the information, take photographs, and then we will get with the law department, and then the individual can be cited for that and charged. The incidents that we had referenced today, I've contacted both of those organizations. One person I had to leave a message for. The second, I was able to talk to an individual. What we basically told them is that they've been doing this on a regular basis, and that if it shows up again, we will basically cite them.
And under our current ordinance, if we have a repeat offender and we cite them, then that's just basically taking them to city court?
I believe so, that's correct.
That's correct, Mr. Corbin. Ms. Scott, who is out at the moment, it's a dual-pronged approach. Stan covers the actual pickup and what we do in terms of public works. Ms. Scott can brief a little further on the actual legal ramifications, because what we're trying to do with those repeat offenders and those offenders that I think everybody's familiar with is go ahead and prosecute them. It is a city court process that they go through, similar to property standards and the others. But Stan and his guys will focus on those that that are the smaller offenders that can simply be removed, but we fully intend to prosecute those that we can identify, that have either a phone number or an address, and we can take those to the court system.
For citizens who have taken this on as a project, and they're going to pull these signs up, as long as they're doing it and they're in right-of-way, public right-of-way property, there's no issue there. Where the citizen
I'm not sure
might
that's
have a
true,
problem,
yeah.
or
Yeah, there is. We really discourage that, Mr. Corbin, because of liability issues and what may happen. And I mean, certainly, if a citizen's out there, sees one, picks it up, we'd ask that they contact Public Works to dispose of them. We really ask that if they see it, to contact Public Works. That way, we can ensure they're picked up. We can ensure that we can document it properly in the event we're in a position to prosecute those individuals. Even the relationship, and Stan's working with Ms. Curtis in terms of Shreveport Green to establish linkages for them to do, they basically volunteered, hey, we'll go pick them up. We explained that may cause some problems for us, but if they work with Public Works, get the information to them, and we'll have the guys go out and either pick them up and or document them the way they need to be documented.
Okay. Now, I've asked this in the past, but if we, and this may be a question for Terry, and this is what I know that another city has done, is they've declared signs in the right-of-way as litter. And there you get over the liability of that, and then it does not prevent anybody from picking up litter. I am in favor of doing that. Is there any reason why we're reluctant to go forward with whatever ordinance change to implement that?
I'll defer to Ms. Scott on that, Mr. Jenkins, but I think you're correct. It can be deemed as litter. I think the issue, though, is we have a lot of medians and we have a lot of places that are public rights of way that might encourage people to be in a situation that may not be the safest for them, and whether we can be found liable or not at the backside. You can't stop people from suing us. You can't stop from sometimes us being in a position of having to cover things that we don't end up running through court because of the costs involved with that. So it's something I'll defer to legal on, and we'll look at it from that perspective, but we've been hesitant to this point to encourage citizens to take that into their own hands.
I'm not saying that we should encourage them, but I certainly don't want to discourage them.
Yeah, it may not encourage them, it just allows.
Clear.
Because, I mean, clearly we're not keeping up with the pace that they're coming out. We're not doing enough to discourage it because, I mean, they're everywhere and they multiply, and so there's got to be some way to make it quicker.
And we'll keep looking at that, because obviously in situations where you're simply picking them up, you can simply pick them up and dispose of them. But in situations where we're trying to actually find people that are doing it and prosecute them, that requires a little bit different process. So we'll kick that back to legal and public works, look at it from that perspective in terms of, is there a way we can not discourage citizens from doing it? I won't necessarily say
Is there
empower them.
also, I know this is a ludicrous idea, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. Is there any, the reason these are out there, it's a cheap way to advertise and get your phone number out there. Can we get an auto dialer to just jam up these people's phone lines and stop that incentive? I mean, that's why they're doing it, is to get their phone number out there.
We actually received some information on it, I think from one of the council members perhaps, and we're looking at that. But we actually received, there are some jurisdictions that have done it. It's a little strange, but apparently effective.
Yeah,
So
I would imagine it would work quickly.
that's another option that we're looking at.
Because I think there's two pieces to this. There's the probably 10 businesses that we could come up with off the top of our head who continue to put these signs all over town. And then the other side of that is when someone opens a new business and it's the method that they use by putting signs 2 feet apart, for a quarter mile down the road, that they've opened up a new sandwich shop or something. And I think that's kind of an education of, as a new business owner, here's the way you can advertise and here's how your signage needs to work. But I think what really is beginning to get on people's nerves are these top 10 offenders who are just out there every week. And I know there's a street I drive by to go to my office. It's not in my district, so I won't mention it. But it'll have signs down it, and the crews have gone through and cleared them out 2 days later. And then I drive down it again, and every one of those signs is back up. And
But I worry about, I hope Stan is not resourced to be out there
Right.
picking up all these signs. That's ultimately, it's taking away a resource that has plenty of opportunities
Right.
for success across the city and shouldn't be out there focusing on this specific issue. And any assistance that Good Samaritans are willing to provide, I don't want to discourage them, certainly not legally. And that's why I believe, I want to say it's Lafayette, but it could be Lake Charles, put this in place, that they have groups that, since it is not theft, because you're not taking something that's deemed as litter, and they go out there and routinely, as part of their public service, go out there and pick up these signs that are in right-of-ways. So that's why I'd really like to look into that particular aspect of the ordinance.
And we will, because it is litter. It's a part of our overall efforts in terms of clutter and trash out down the streets. And I can surely see if there's an organized effort, just like we do with litter campaigns. You can get a group of folks out, go out and pick up. That may be a similar approach to take here. I thought initially meant just generally on any given day, any citizen, but certainly we can organize, just like we do with litter abatement programs where citizens are allowed to go out there and do that. We'll go back and look at it from those specific angles, the auto dial, as well as, is there a way we can empower citizens and keep the system intact, and come back, say, at the next council meeting with some additional details on it.
Okay, Stan, we appreciate it. Ms. Farnell? Ms. Ms. Farnell still here?
She's there.
Yes, she is.
Okay, I didn't know whether Mr. Sibley sent out to get him a cup of coffee or not,
Well,
but,
she was pretty quiet back there, Mr.
oh,
Sean.
why?
It's got a new
She must have had a birthday. No, okay.
Good afternoon.
Any questions for Ms. Farnell? Jeff?
I did. Thank you. Did y'all get a chance to look at that right-of-way for the railroad?
Yes, the inspector has a meeting with a gentleman with KCS this coming Wednesday at 10 o'clock. This is in regard to the railroad maintenance underneath that overpass, Marshall and Edwards.
Yes.
And then Union Pacific, we've issued a citation on that one. That's the one along the Clyde Bank Parkway.
Great, thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate the follow-up.
Okay, you know, I know what too, Mr. Jenkins, Sam Jenkins. You might wanna, yeah, that's right. You see, all of it bending all the way back, so.
So you can make eye contact
Yeah,
with
there
her,
you
so
go.
we're clear.
And that's smart. Why don't you contact, Miss Farnell when we get ready to have the next meeting?
Solid waste?
On solid waste.
Will do.
Right.
Love to have her join us.
Hey.
Well,
thank
we would
you.
like to join also if Ms. Farnell's going to be there. We can-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goes without saying. Goes without saying.
Damn.
We've been looking forward to those meetings.
Yeah. I don't know what you're gonna do with Sam.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Scott. Is Ms. Scott here?
No, sir, but I know she did. Is she?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
wanna leave you out.
I was going to mention you sent your report. but-
I got
Oh, you do it tomorrow? Okay. I'm sorry, my computer was down.
And Mr. Shine, on revenue collection, I'll get it to you guys tonight or before the meeting tomorrow. Didn't get a chance to get it out to you today, but I think you'll be
Thank you.
pleased with the numbers when you see them.
I tell you what.
Excellent.
Yeah, I tell you
Are
what.
they
Why don't-
even better than last month, or?
Surprisingly.
Why don't we, well, if it's so good, why don't we just wait and take it tomorrow?
There you go. Thank you.
We'll have TV cameras rolling.
That's good news.
Okay, good news. All right, Ms. Sanders, that's next meeting. No, this is, yeah, next meeting. That's next meeting. Okay, thank you for being here, Ms. Sanders. Okay, public hearing. Mr. Thompson, we have no public hearing, right?
We have not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do you have any legislation that we want to look at to
I'm
add
not
maybe
aware of any,
tomorrow? Okay. If you're not aware of any, then we don't have any.
There's always a chance.
Well, Alvin, you know, Mr. Thompson is always on top of the game.
If some of us
Mark,
may be
you
a
see
little
that?
slow getting their documents too, Mr. Thompson.
Oh. I was about to say, Mr. Thompson, that's your friend, too. You all, both of y'all have a military background. Right?
He was a real fighter.
Oh. Well, Oliver, I guess I'll be quiet. Public comments. We have one gentleman, I wanna, if y'all will excuse me, B.
Yes,
Right
sir.
on there by you, I've forgotten his name already. Yes, come up, we wanna give you 3 minutes. He's might be in a little hurry, so. Would you state your name and?
I'm Jeffrey Dwayne Jackson, and this is my first time being to City Council meeting.
Okay.
And I'm a priest myself. I'm the third person of the Godhead, and I come to find this out maybe in '05, and I've been fighting terrorism, me and the angels, and there's an investigation on some things as far as the White House and me being challenged by the illegal aliens and by me being an organ of the Holy See as the Godhead. And I just wanted to come and get a feel of things and see how things going, but I'm pretty much handling terrorism in the streets.
All right, well, we appreciate you coming down. Anybody have any questions for him? Okay, if not, make sure you come back. This chamber belongs to the people. Okay, and since we only have one more, and then we have a gentleman that want to speak about another matter. I want to say it's Tony Williams. Oh, I'm sorry, Terry. I'm sorry. And you're exactly right. Would you come up, Terry, and let us see what you have on your mind? Terry, give us your name and your address so we can record it.
My name is Terry Williams. Address 900 Whispering Lake.
Okay.
I am here to address Mr. Jenkins and proper standards. Okay, like I said, my name is Terry Williams, and I just retired out the military.
Wait a minute, Terry, just 1 minute. Ms. Farnier, you want to come up closer so you can hear Terry? It seems like it's with property standards.
Is this an issue,
Right, I mean,
is this one of the issues on our agenda today for property standards?
is it? Well, Terry, wait until we get to it, please.
Okay, you called me up here.
I sure did.
Uh-huh.
I sure did. So
Okay.
just wait until we can get to it on the agenda, Terry.
No problem.
Sorry about that, Mr. Sean, I didn't realize, and I'm not sure if it's.
I didn't either. But Terry, thank you so much. If you'll have a seat right on the front row, we want to try to get to you in a few minutes. I'm sorry, that's my mistake, and
There you go, it's number 3.
as not made by my heart, maybe by my head. Okay. No appointments, right, Mr. Sibley?
None at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Sibley, we back with you on 8.
Yes, sir. Section 8, consent agenda legislation. There none for introduction to adopt ordinances and resolutions under Section B. Resolution 38 accepts dedication for Reunion Drive and South Reunion Drive in Reunion Subdivision, Unit 3.
Councilman Webb is not here, so we'll move on, Mr. Sibley. Thank you.
Under Section 9, regular agenda legislation, this is sub A, resolutions on second reading and final passage, or which will require only one reading. Number 39, declares the city's interest in certain adjudicated property as surplus.
Okay, Councilman McCullough is not here. Is anybody here want to speak for District A?
Not on the record.
Okay. Dale, I gave him a chance.
Quote me on that one.
I said no, sir, on the record.
That's right. Mike and Oliver always, they always want to reach into somebody's district, so you see how quick they backed up on that one.
Resolution 40, Mr. Sean.
Yeah, keep it on, please.
Declaring the city's interest in certain adjudicated property as surplus and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Okay.
Number 41, allocates funds to specific not-for-profit organization from funds budgeted in other charges in the Riverfront Development Special Revenue Fund.
Okay, that's Jeff. Jeff, did you have a comment?
I'll just say this is the legislation that resulted from the Riverfront Committee's review of the applications here. I don't think it's exciting, but we had a very limited amount of money to allocate out this year, and so we used a committee made up of people who represent organizations that are professionals at allocating funds out, as well as representatives from the mayor's office and the city council. And they determined from the applications which ones they thought met the qualifications and which ones they thought were most highly recommended based on the base ordinance. And that's what they gave to us. And so from that, we took these and came up with the funding amounts you'll see there. So that's how that was determined. I think it's spelled out in the whereas clauses with a little bit of background information. But if anybody has any changes that you'd like to see to that, speak soon or forever hold your peace.
All right, that sounds like a wish. Sounds like he just got married, doesn't it? Okay, Dale?
Resolution 42 suspends the effect of certain provisions of Chapter 10 and Chapter 106 of the City of Shreveport Code of Ordinances. This is relative to unseen for the months of May through August 2014.
This is so that I don't have to come back to y'all every month getting a Chapter 10 exemption, so we're going to get a few of them at a time.
Okay, Dale, B, introduction resolution.
One second,
sorry.
can we go back to 38? And I meant to ask this, but I was going to ask Councilman Webb. Are those streets, they're already in the city of Shreveport?
Ali?
Okay.
This is phase 2 of subdivision that was already planted and planned and extending the street.
Okay, and so that, didn't really say it in there, I assumed it was the case, but, okay, thank you.
Under Section B, introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to March 25th, 2014. Number 43, authorizes the use of certain equipment by the Department of the Air Force, Barksdale Air Force Base, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Number 44.
Will that be delivered by Oliver?
But it's like chairs and,
Okay.
Resolution 44 authorizes the use of certain equipment by Shreveport Green for the Great American Cleanup. Resolution 45 authorizes the use of certain equipment by the March of Dimes for the March for Babies. Resolution 46 authorizes the use of certain equipment by the American Cancer Society for the Shreveport Relay for Life.
Okay, Dale, we have no questions.
Section C, introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to March 25th, 2014. Number 25, amends the 2014 Airport Enterprise Fund budget. This is regarding the Express Jet Maintenance Facility. Ordinance 26 amends the 2014 Capital Improvements budget. This is regarding airport taxiway improvements at the downtown airport. Ordinance 27 closes and abandons the 70-foot wide, 475-foot long portion of road right-of-way south of Flournoy Lucas Road and west of Ellerby Road in the YMCA subdivision located in Section 8, Township 16 North, Range 14 West, Kettle Parish, Louisiana. Otherwise provides with respect thereto.
Mike? Any comment?
I'm good with that.
All right, Mike is good with it. All right.
Section D is ordinances on second reading and final passage. Ordinance 10 amends Chapter 74 of the Code of Ordinances relative to solid waste. There is one amendment. Ordinance 13 amends Section 3430 of the Code of Ordinances relative to areas of special flood hazard. Ordinance 14 amends the 2014 capital improvements budget. This is regarding the Stoner Avenue Dog Park. Ordinance 15 amends the 2014 capital improvements budget. This is related to the LSU Streetscape project. Ordinance 16 amends the 2014 capital improvements budget. This is regarding HVAC improvements at the airport. Ordinance 17 amends the 2014 Airports Enterprise Fund budget. This is the companion. Ordinance 18 amends the 2014 General Fund budget regarding the courts. And Ordinance 23 declares the city's interest in certain vacant lots as surplus and our intention to donate certain vacant lots acquired by community for development to community support programs. This matter is not to be adopted prior to March 25th, 2014 and was previously postponed.
All right, any questions for Mr. Sibley? If not, Mr. Sibley, this should run smooth tomorrow then. You shouldn't be bombarded with an hour's worth of questions when we could easily ask them on today. Okay.
okay, and by the way, just so we're clear, we're likely to postpone ordinance 10 and not
Correct.
vote on it. I mean, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know if you had said something.
Yeah, I was waiting on Councilman Jenkins to say something, but it was the other Councilman Jenkins.
I thought we knew we wasn't gonna do anything until we all had a chance to talk about it. But it's good to have it in the record.
There you go, Councilman, there you go. You know how those records are. All right, Mr. Thompson, table legislation.
I'm not aware of any item to be removed from the table, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Ms. Farnell?
Are we already there?
Yes, we're there.
You were just on it.
Right, I was just going. Where's Ms. Farnell?
She's out, I think, talking to
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Richardson stepped out to get her.
Do we have any ABO appeals? Nope.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
yes,
Ms. Farnell's ready, Mr. Chairman.
yeah. All
Good
right.
evening again. Just 1 minute. I have 4 cases here today. One is 5918 Attaway Street, and Mr. Shine is in your area.
Great.
The gentleman is here. He was told on the last council meeting that he was to prime and paint the house. He's completed that. Totally repair the roof. He's completed that. Connect the porch to the rest of the structure. He's completed that. To replace a board up the windows. He's done all of that, and he said he's going to start replacing them next week. He's boarded up everything. Replaced the door to the garage area, and we are satisfied. Right now, it's in a point where we can. It's not in a. We don't need to demolish it. So.
All right. Let me commend you. It's very seldom. And I want to say this to the other council members, you know, you all see what goes on in my district.
It's all about leadership.
That should be.
It's all about leadership.
There you go. That's right. It's all about leadership.
So we're clear.
All right. It's all about leadership. Okay, we just want to thank you. And how much more time do you need, Shakey?
He's good.
Oh, he's
Not a
good?
demolition candidate anymore. I'm going to ask that this case be closed.
All right. So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by the chair, second by, got 2 seconds on that. Oliver Jenkins and Sam Jenkins. All in favor, vote yes.
Yes, sir. You can leave.
We're just excited about your mentorship, Councilman Shine, and how you've shown how things get done in the
All
city.
right.
He was just taking his work gloves off when he walked in the chamber.
There you go.
It's not working for us.
It's not working for you?
No.
That's about it.
We, hand vote.
Mhm.
You know, Ms. Shine can't vote.
Our next case, am I ready?
Well,
I just didn't want to record you as voting.
okay, that's good. That's good.
As long as Jeff
I
was-
voted, but don't record it here. So I feel left out if I'm not able to vote. Okay.
Our next case is in Councilwoman McCullough's area. It's 2701 Martin Luther King Drive. The citizen was notified he's not here. Under the circumstances, I would recommend demolition. I don't know if you all want to.
Oh, there she is. Come on up.
Okay.
Come on up.
I think we need to
Thank you.
rectify one thing.
Okay.
What is that?
What?
It's pointed out that you can't,
Vote.
you not only cannot vote, but you can't make a motion. So in that
Oh,
case,
That's true. That's
I will
true.
make the motion and Sam will second the motion.
Thank you.
That's true. I appreciate
That's on
that.
5918 Attaway Street.
Okay. And this is Miss who now?
This is Miss Sherry Smith.
Miss Sherry Smith, okay.
What we've done, we've looked at this property, and in order to give more time, which we would be asking certain specific things for Miss Smith to do on the property. Replace the seal, replace the ingress, repair exterior walls, north, south, east, and west, replace the porch. And these are those specific things that we would like to have done so that we can continue to give her as much as time that she will need.
Ms. Smith, you want to say a word or two?
Good afternoon. We're just requesting additional time. It's stated in the paperwork that it was 10 days, and we needed at least, I'm going to say about 2 months to get all the repairs finished and get the place inhabitable. And that's what we're here today to
So that's
request.
60 days.
About 60 days, yes.
Okay. What is your pleasure?
So move for 60 days unless Ms. Farnell has some objection. Is that an objection?
You think you can do
Ms.
this?
Farnell, are you going to line out?
That's what I just did, and I was prepared to give them 90 days because of the extensiveness of what I had lined
All right,
out.
well, let's give it.
I was going to give her 90 days because these are the things that needed to be done as I had outlined.
So move for 90 days.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins and second by Councilman Jeff Everson that we would give Ms. Smith 90 days. All in favor, vote yes.
Did not work yet.
It's working.
It is?
Yeah.
Yours is.
Yeah, mine is
For some
working.
reason ours
Yeah.
aren't.
The only person that can't vote.
Yeah.
Thank you, I haven't.
I thought he was meaning, yeah, Oliver, your hand's working fine.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Farnell?
Yes, sir. We have a care premise and a demolition at 3640 Del Rio, which is in Councilman Jenkins' area. Mr. Terry Williams is here today. Mr. Williams has been working on this property.
Is it
He's
Terry
done
or Tony?
Fantastic, sir.
Terry? Okay, they got Tony wrote down here on it.
We sent out another letter with the correct name on it, Terry rather than Tony.
I forgot and left that one at home. Okay.
My recommendation for this property is for 90 days. The owner has been rehabbing the property. I request that property standards will continue to monitor the property and that the care premise will continue to be abated during the time that this property is being rehabbed. And Mr. Williams is here.
Terry, you want to make a few statements?
How you doing, Mr. Shine?
Fine.
Moving out your district going into Mr. Jenkins.
Oh, no.
Welcome aboard.
No.
Welcome aboard.
Mr. Jenkins, I'm just here, like I said, on my early brief. I'm retired. I just retired out the military. Military, which he gave me, I gave my life 37 years to him.
Wow.
And I'm moving in your district. I bought the house in your district, and I plan to bring the standards up. That's my reason why I'm buying the house. I didn't buy the house for her just to sit there and be there. She extended 90 days, good. You rest assured, within that 90 days, you will see the improvement of the house.
I think we could
Having
actually
that
do that.
military background and being breathed down my back about this and that and little things, and doing with the winter month that we have had, with the breaking trees, I left the underbush alone and went to the trees. That was more important to me than when I was investing into the house, or the tree falling on my on the money that I'm putting in.
Mr. Shine,
After
I just got a message that we're not getting your remarks on the record. Could you move toward the microphone?
Right here, sir.
I talk so loud in the military, I ain't never need one.
Yeah.
Okay, but that is my intention for to bring your district up like I have brought it up in District F. That is my intention to do, and to make a long story short, like I said, it was just when I was being breathed down my back about stop doing, demolish, and go with proper, underbush when everything is dying. I thought it was unfair to me, and I would have made your meeting in January from the time I purchased the house. So I didn't feel I had to make it because I was told by a proper standard that I was improving. Then when I stopped improving the underbush and went to the big trees.
Okay.
But
That's when they came back on you.
right.
I'll make the motion for the 90 days. I'm accepting the ask now that you try to work with Ms. Farnell. I think.
I have no problem.
Yeah, I think she want to help you and give you some direction.
I have no problem in working with her.
To help you out with that. And hopefully this place is not too accessible to.
No, you haven't seen the pictures of it?
I saw the pictures, I just want to be sure we don't have a situation where people just go in and enter the.
We'll be monitoring for that, and we're going to be working very closely.
But with that, I mean, I make a motion for the 90 days.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is that motion for both cases, PSD 1300213 and PSD 1300253?
Is it two properties on the same address is what we got here?
Two violations.
Yes, it's two violations, two separate violations. It was written up first for the care premise and for the demolition. Yes, sir. And we're asking for both on the same. Yes, sir.
90 days on both.
Okay, it's been,
90 days on both.
I have a question for Ms. Farnell.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a carpentry expert like the chair is, but I'm just thumbing through these pictures, and I've got some questions about safety of the carpentry work that I'm seeing here.
On which one?
On, I guess, case number 3, as I'm looking at the walls and how they're supported and some of the framework and all that. Did he have to pull a permit, and are our inspectors going out and looking at this along the way?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's okay to support floor joist with broken bricks and cinder blocks and things like that?
I can answer that for you, Mr. Carl.
I'll have to look at that.
I spent, like I said, I'm retired military and I major in engineer. That's what I be. That's my major. That's my hobby. The bricks that you see broken, that what you see with the brick is breaking at, all that is support on the outside wall.
Right here. That's what he's talking about. Right.
Right. They're just holding, something for me to get my balance from corner to corner. And just steps we are making. So right now, it's supporting it all.
I just want to be sure that you're investing your time and money, and you're building a safe house that is not going to have additional problems down the road.
No.
What will happen, Councilman Corbin, permits and inspection. When we have this meeting on tomorrow, they will be notified about this. They'll go out and make their inspection, and they'll do that periodically. If there's any problems, they're going to let him know. I will bring that to their attention, which they may already know, but certainly we will be looking into it to make sure that permits do what they need to do.
Appreciate it.
I believe we have a motion on the floor by Sam and a second by Oliver, for, what is it, 90 days?
90 days on both violations.
90 days for both violations. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed is no. Tony, you got the 90 days.
Mr. Shine.
Yes, sir.
Jerry.
I'm sorry.
Anytime we sit in Jerry's barber shop and got a haircut.
That's exactly right. You're right, Jerry. Don't tell Jerry them here. No, don't tell me. Oh, Oliver, it's bad getting old.
I know how that goes.
Bad getting old. Everybody pick on you. Everybody pick on you when you get Alex. Everybody picks on you when you get old. You see that, huh? All right. Okay.
Sharon, we're now under
AVO card.
appeals, yes, and we have two, I believe, today. The
Corporal
first,
Collins. You want to bring the people up and let them sit right behind you. That's
For Airport Texaco? Today is alcohol permit renewal, a denial for that at 5203 Monkhouse Airport, Texaco. Again, they exceeded the number of violations that they're allowed within a 2-year time. For the record, the first one is 511-212, no alcohol permit, pled guilty on 4/30/2013. Another one on 511-212, no ABO card, pled guilty on 9/21/2013. And on 3/13/2013, underage sales, pled guilty on 4/30/2013. You're going to have 2 warrants listed below. They have been updated. The person has taken care of the warrants. That's not been to court yet, so there's no longer any warrants out. Once again, they just exceeded numbers. that they're allowed in 2 years, therefore they were denied.
Okay, could you have the owner and his attorney to come up, please?
Can I ask one question
Yes,
before he does
yes.
it? What is no alcohol permit? That means Airport Texaco was selling without an alcohol?
Expired. There's no difference between no alcohol, the charge for no alcohol permit, because once it's expired, they don't have a permit. So it was actually expired at that time.
And just for my edification, do they get something in the mail that notifies them that theirs is expired? Or
90 days ahead of time, Revenue will send out a package to them, and that's where their renewal is. They have to send in their application after that. So they actually,
That's every other year?
every year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, would you, okay.
Good evening,
Let the
council.
owner come up with you too.
I represent Alex Washington, President. I represent Mr. Salah. He informed me on the no alcohol permit. He had the alcohol permit posted on the wall, but no one looked at that permit. They did give him the ticket for the no ABO card, but he said at that time that permit was present at his building. Each time these transactions took place, he wasn't there. He has since terminated the person on the last situation where it took place. He did terminate them. All current employees, he's ensuring that they are following the rules, but none of these incidents took place since when he was actually in the store. Additionally, I think he has any questions that the council may have. He's present, he's ready to answer any questions for you.
What is it, Mr. Ally? I mean, what is it? Give me your name again.
Saleh Wad. Saleh Wad.
Oh, Salat.
Wad.
Okay, I'm not very good in Arab.
And he has
I would hope, okay, I would hope that you would make sure that you would be on top of the situation and that you would make sure that the employees that you have working there would follow all of the rules and regulations.
Yes, sir.
Because, you know, this can be very serious and, you know, we don't necessarily want to see you without your license to sell alcohol, but if it continues, you know, you put yourself in that kind of situation and that would kind of be a hit to your bottom line.
Yes, sir.
And we wouldn't want to see that happen. Any other council members have any observations that they would like to make?
I guess Mr. Washington or your client either, can you kind of tell us about what kind of process or procedures he's changed since these issues have transpired? Other than, obviously, he pointed out that Mr. Hussein is no longer under his employ anymore. What else? Anything else done differently?
Well, my partner, who's a former Senate prosecutor, he also went by and spoke to him and also employees and informed them about the guidelines and what's important. As Mr. Shine just stated, that you don't want to lose your license. He's in a good location. He's right down the street from the airport.
Sure.
Come to stress the importance of it. And anytime any of his employees have any questions and concerns, my partner go by and speak to them about it. But most importantly, they need to make sure to check IDs for each and every person that comes into the facility.
And do they have one of those card readers at their facility?
They program the system. Now, once you do a beer sale, you have beer, and you won't authorize it until you swipe the card, the ID of the person that's purchasing the alcohol. And that's a new thing that we just put up.
Okay. I was just going to say that's what we've
Right.
historically asked owners that come in front of us to purchase that equipment.
What you're saying is you've programmed your point of sale register to remind people to check IDs. You don't have the card reader that verifies it's an official ID to use a driver's license with.
You have a card and you swipe and check it.
On the Ruby system.
He just did it.
On the Ruby system, on the computer, on the cash register. So
Yeah.
we're going to do the sale without swiping the card.
Is that the same thing, Alex?
It sounds like the same thing. Say you swipe, you can't do the sale unless he swipes the card. I'm
I'd
not
be
sure.
interested, Corporal Collins, in you verifying that for us, if you can.
And would you check it too, Alex, since you are his attorney?
I will.
I know it's more time, but it's a safeguard for him.
Okay.
Because we wouldn't want you coming back in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Let me ask one other question too, Mr. Chairman. We've been finding out that some stores actually leave it up to their employees to go get their ABO cards. I see some no ABO cards on here. Exactly how does he pay for the ABO cards, or do we just, do you get some proof from the employee that they have the ABO card at the time that they do the application for employment, or we just finding that these are some of the things we see, kind of on a repeated basis? So we're just trying to maybe suggest to the managers that they make sure they confirm that the person actually went in and obtained the ABO card and present it to them and make sure that they have it at the time that they employ them, so they don't sell it on beer and wine. So I don't know if that process is in place, but if not, it'd be a good process to have in place. From time to time, they need to make sure that their employees have the credentials that they need to sell beer and wine at the store.
Okay.
And to track when they expire, because that's the other thing that we see is that they come in, and then the 2 years or whatever goes by, and he's been a good employee, and then he forgets that he's supposed to have renewed it, and then we're all here in front of each other again about an issue like that. So that's kind of one that we're seeing repeated here over and over again.
That makes sense. I'll make sure you put a system in place where you're verifying the ABO cards on an annually or semi-annual basis.
I frequently stop by this location from time to time because it's close to my neighborhood, and between my house and my church. I generally stop by there also. I believe from what I can see, they run a good operation. It's unfortunate that we may have some of these situations that we have. But Mr. Chairman, I would be willing to make a motion. I know this is in your district. It's right at the line.
Well, since you, I don't think it's so much right at the line, but since you probably go by there more than I do, I'll yield.
I don't want to be doing anything that you don't want done. That's why I was asking.
You're a good man. You're a good Christian man.
I'd be happy to.
I
generally stop by there on Sunday mornings on my way to church.
Yeah, I can trust you and get you.
What we need to do.
You don't get your beer or nothing when you stop by.
On the way to church.
On the way to church.
I said on my way to church, Mr. Chairman.
Wait till you leave church.
I'm not going to talk about what I do when I leave church. I'm talking about on the way.
Yeah, you see that? Wait till you leave church and then stop by there and get you a beer.
Let's see if we can do a motion, Corporal Collins, to, I guess, overturn the denial, and we need some verification. Is that what we're asking for?
Maybe contingent on the verification?
Yeah, contingent upon the verification that he has the
card reader,
machine in place, and so he can be allowed to get his permit.
I'll second that motion.
What is that? Would that be a proper motion, Corporal Collins?
Are we going to postpone it till let me get over here. Okay. Excuse me.
Would that be better?
Will it be postponed until I verify that, or do you want to do it now, contingent? Because
Well, let's go on and do it now. And if you go by there and it's not done, then he'll have to come back, and I think his attorney is probably going to make sure that he does that.
We could put in this motion, Mr. Chairman, that if he does not have that, he may be required to put one in place.
Safer. To put what in
Doesn't
place?
have it, let's require him to put one in place as contingent upon.
Well, he's going to do, I think his attorney said he's going to do that because he doesn't want to come back down here again.
He's going to take, he will.
Yeah, right. He's going to take care of what he needs to take care of, so he won't be coming back down here again.
Right.
Because if he comes back down here again, it might be one of them days I got a headache. I might not be as lenient.
So I want to make sure the corporal understand what we're doing.
do we have a time specification for him to get that card reader in place?
Let's say 30 days. Yeah, let's say 30 days.
So the motion is to overturn the denial, contingent upon verification of the card reader in place. Absent that, to have the card reader in place within 30 days.
Was there any probation involved in this?
No. You don't mind me taking on that since it's in my district? Okay.
I'm just trying to accommodate you.
Right, I didn't want to weigh you down.
So the motion is to grant the application for a permit.
Right.
Provided that,
Within 30 days, he'll have everything in there that he needs to do.
to do it immediately if he has it now.
Yeah, right. Give him the card now.
If he's got the reader.
But if he doesn't have the reader, is he still to get the card now?
Well, yes, let's give him the card now, because if he doesn't get the reader, huh?
He actually never lost it. It's a denial of the application. He resubmitted an application, so as long as you all overturn it.
Yeah, let's let's overturn it, because if he doesn't do what needs to be done, he's gonna be back down here, and he doesn't want to come back down here.
Well, just for clarification, as long as you're in the process, as long as it's under appeal, his license is good. So if you
Okay.
want to overturn it now, then try to verify the card reader and bring it back to you, or you can postpone it, whatever you decide to do.
Now,
whatever
let's
your pleasure.
overturn it. Let's overturn it. Let's overturn it. And
Just have to have everything straight.
right, and Art, my daddy always told me, say, if something needs to be handled it yourself. So that's no reflection on Sam. But let's overturn it.
I did the best I could, Mr.
Right,
Chair.
you did. Thank you. All right, thank you all. Okay, all in favor vote yes, opposed is no. Okay. The motion passes.
Jeff, what was your vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we ready? for number
Next
two?
case is for Raceway 6742, 221 East 70th.
Yeah,
That's
in your
that's
district.
6732, excuse me, got typographical on there.
Yeah, that's in your district. We turn this over to you.
You know, rarely do I get a chance at one of these.
Yeah,
if I don't-
that's true. That's true. That's true.
For the
Okay.
record, we have 4 violations on this one. The first one, 3/13/2012, underage sales, pled guilty on 6/12/2012. Another one, 3/13/2012, no ABO card, also pled guilty on 6/12/2012. On 8/17/2012, underage sales, pled guilty on 9/18/2012. On 8/24/2012, another underage sales, pled guilty on 10/8/2013. And currently, we have one that's still in the court system. 1/10/2014 was underage sales, but without disposition, you don't take that into account on this one. Once again, it just went out of the parameters for us to approve it. 4 violations, 3 of them being underage sales.
All right, Oliver?
Any questions?
Certainly would like to listen to what they have to say at this point.
Bobby Sutton Jr. here with Mr. Shaquille. What Mr. Shaquille does, he attempts to try to do proactive. He has signs up in his store and also next to the place where the employees clock in and out, which says essentially anyone caught selling alcohol to minors will be immediately terminated. When he hires someone, he has them sign an agreement that says they will follow all the local laws as part of their employment package. In addition to that, he actually follows through because each of these people have been terminated when they were convicted, and that is what the agreement that they sign tells them is going to happen to them. At the present time, he has a system in his computer where they actually punch in the birth date before it rings up an alcohol sale. He tells me that he does have the capability and is willing to order the parts with the card slide reader as well. I mean, he's doing everything that he can do, trying to be proactive to stop underage sales and illegal sales, because it is not in the interest of his business or, anything else. So, I mean, that is our presentation.
Okay. And Corporal Collins, do y'all seem to have a lot of problems at this location?
There are more problems that's been stated here. Not everyone gets a guilty verdict. There are several other ones, pretty good history throughout the last few years, but we only bring the ones that basically plead guilty to you. So But the only ones up before you at this time is what's put before you at this time.
And then I guess by the same token, if we were doing this 5 days from now, would he still be in front of us? I guess he would.
As far as conviction dates?
Do you go by conviction date?
Conviction dates.
I got you.
That's why,
So-
there's sometimes when you look at old charges like 3/2012, you think, well, that's way out there, but it's actually conviction date.
Okay, so, okay, well, I certainly would like to be consistent, so I would like to make a motion that we, can I do it, overturn it with the requirement to have one of those electronic readers in place? So I guess we would, you have to postpone, or can we just 30 days from now, if you're satisfied that they have electronic reader in place that's operable, grant him their permit?
I could verify that, and if not, bring it back to you.
Okay, then that would be my motion.
A second.
And also, if I could, Mr. Chair, I'll just let you know.
Will
on
it
the-
take him 30 days? I mean, will,
Yeah, we would ask for 30 days.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
30
know, because
days.
it's a software that they have to order and put in.
Actually, is a, if you don't mind,
separate-
there is
Yeah.
a Ruby cash register, and we can slide the card in, and it's read automatically the ID. And when it's read, it allow us, it tell us, we can sell this person or not. So that's the one actually I talked with I'm going to talk with the racetrack. We can punch in manually the date of birth, but this sometimes take the time, or maybe it's reading or mistake on their part. But if it's a slide, then the card gonna be read in the system. So that's the one I will definitely do it on that part. And the cash register on that, so we can slide and it's gonna go through on it. And if somebody's able to buy the beer, it's fine. And again, I'm trying to be, like I'm old, I think I'm the first person here in Shreveport long enough to be running that location and trying to be good atmosphere and try to be keep clean all that area, and atmosphere be good too, but whatever I can do, I'm just trying to do my best on it.
okay, it's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Sam Jenkins that, you want to restate the motion again?
Yes, 30 days, overturn, and then he's got 30 days to install an electronic reader to be verified by Corporal Collins.
Okay.
Not to bring it here.
All in favor, vote yes, opposed is no. The motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I forgot, all right, I can't. Vote anyway. Sam, you was right, they got mine working. I'm the very one who came on.
You got it in reverse today.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Thompson?
Mr. Chairman, we have two MPC appeals for tomorrow. We have a taxi appeal that's on the agenda. I received a call, the office received a call from the applicant who stated that he was out of town and his bus is not going to get in until after the city council meeting. We called Mrs. McCulloch and asked what did she want, what motion did she want to make on this, and she said that she wanted the council to consider postponing it for 2 weeks, even though she was not going to be able to come to the meeting today.
So move to postpone?
Been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, that we would postpone, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins. All in favor, vote yes. That's right.
On the next, the ABO appeal, SOB appeal. I spoke to Mr. Bryant Pratt. He was here earlier today after Corporal Collins spoke to him, and he told me that he wanted to withdraw his appeal.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by Councilman
Well, hold on a second. Do we need to make a motion if
Motion
he's
to
withdrawn?
withdraw it.
To remove it from the agenda.
Okay, I'll make a
Right,
motion to
remove from the
remove.
agenda.
Second, yes.
All right, all in favor vote yes to remove from the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we're down to reports from officers, boards, and committees. Anyone?
I'll just mention, I think we are scheduling the next infrastructure committee meeting for the March 17th, I believe at 1:30 is the tentative date for that. Am I saying that right, Jackie? That is the right date? That's correct. Yeah, so, and we'll get a notice out in the next few days here, but we will have a review of the state of the infrastructure report and a couple other items at that meeting.
Okay, anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, as it relates to our solid waste committee, we did meet today, and we are going to set another meeting. The meeting today was primarily to allow the council council members to meet with the council staff. I'm asking everyone to be prepared on tomorrow for us to set a date for another meeting so that we can invite in the appropriate people with the administration, the CEO, our Public Works Director, Mr.
And Fred
Harris,
Williams.
and the Solid Waste Superintendent, Fred Williams, as well as, I believe an invitation has been extended to Ms. Farnell to come and be a part of this discussion. So we'll be prepared tomorrow to pick a new date. We'll reset another meeting, and we'll move forward with our discussions.
An invitation was extended to Ms. Farnell so she could work with the chairman of that committee.
Sir?
Dale, yeah.
Okay, and I will say, subject to when Councilman Sam Jenkins proposes that meeting, I will deconflict a public safety meeting. So depending on what day he picks, I will look at an opportunity for that.
You yield to Honorable Samuel Jenkins.
Natural.
All right.
First out of the gate.
There you go, Sam. My man. All right. If we have no other observations,
There could be a clerk's report lurking in the wind.
well,
Mr. Shannon, that could not be.
yeah. I thought we'd wait till tomorrow. Okay. Mike, meeting's adjourned.
Good work.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Stephen Jean, just a person, and then I had one other person I want to ask a question to.
Oliver, you still Ronnie and Leah?
Yeah, right
How you
now?
doing, my good friend?
I was
Going well?
gonna text them, they said
Excellent,
6:30, but
excellent.
I was gonna
How you,
text
sir?
them a little earlier.
Yeah, tell me what time.
Thank
I
you.
got it on my calendar.
Yes, sir. Have a little blue
See what
book
they
right there.
say.
You are most welcome.
Text me, because I'm only walking across
Okay.
the Do you know where we're?
That's a long
I'll suggest 5:30.
Flexibility.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
yeah, just shoot me a text on whatever the answer is.
Okay, cool. And did I say on the calendar was a mistake we have a meeting with Dr. Berry? Was that a mistake from the one?